Hello, how are you guys doing? Uh, we have a special guest, Derek Drymon. Are you guys excited? We have, I don't know which side. I think this side
Over
maybe.
there?
You guys
Okay.
you're ready? We'll move some of the
All right.
microphones. Okay. Oh, we have a
We got
lone coffee
coffee.
cup. I love that. They give us coffee.
I wore my fanny pack. Sorry, I'm embarrassed that I wore my fanny pack up here.
No, fanny packs are in.
Oh,
Do you
they're
know
in?
retro's coming back? Okay, so for what people probably know you for is, I'm assuming, for me, SpongeBob.
Yes, I would
And
think so.
you've
yeah.
had a lot of other works. Can you maybe tell us a couple of the other works you've done that people maybe don't know you for as well?
Sure. Yeah. I just give you a brief run through my career. I started at Disney when in the early '90s. I worked on I had an internship, and so the first character I worked on was Roger Rabbit, which I had just a little smidge from one of the shorts, the roller
Okay.
coaster short.
Okay.
So not the movie.
Oh, okay,
Not-
okay,
not-
but
not that
still,
long ago.
no.
That's where I started. And then from there, moved to LA, and I got a job working at Nickelodeon, and I worked on Rocko's Modern Life, and that's where I met Steve. And then from there, I did Cat Dog, and I worked on Action League Now, and I worked on Hey Arnold. And then I worked with Steve to develop the SpongeBoy Ahoy show, which was what SpongeBob was originally called. What else? And then after SpongeBob, I went to DreamWorks, and I worked on Kung Fu Panda, and I worked on Shrek Ever After, or
Oh my goodness.
Forever After, I think it was called.
Was that the fourth one?
The
I
fourth
think?
one,
Yeah.
yes. I worked on The Penguins of Madagascar, and worked on Monsters vs. Aliens, and
Oh, Monsters vs. Aliens is actually it's somewhat niche now. There are some people I'll mention that to, and
They
they
won't
won't
even
even.
know what it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I loved it.
yeah,
I
it was,
absolutely loved it.
I guess they were putting out so many movies that it's hard to keep track of
Right.
all those DreamWorks movies.
Right.
And then from there, I worked on Adventure Time, first season of Adventure Time, and then I worked at Illumination. I was in their marketing department, and I worked on I directed a lot of commercials for The Grinch and Secret Life of Pets, and Despicable Me 3 or 4, and Sing.
Oh wow! So you've done a lot.
Done a lot.
You've
And
done a lot
then-
of stuff.
Yeah, and then from there I did Hotel Transformania. I directed that movie. That was the first movie I directed.
So more than just animation, it's directing as well.
Yes. Mostly I did storyboards all those years.
Okay.
And then most actual animation is done when we did SpongeBob. That was done in Korea, so that's not done in the States. And then even the Hotel Transylvania was done in Canada. SpongeBob was animated. The latest SpongeBob movie was animated in Canada. So very little that I've worked. In fact, nothing I've worked on has ever been animated in the States.
Really?
Yes.
So are you over there when
No,
with,
I'm in
or-
the States. The storyboards, the writing
Yeah, how does that work?
is in the States.
Okay.
Editorial is in the States.
Storyboard stuff.
And then the animation and the production is done, either in Canada
Okay.
or SpongeBob was done overseas. And then you send the materials, and then they ship you back the final artwork, and you kind of work with those studios.
That's insane. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of coordinating. Yeah.
Wow. So is there a reason as to why it has to be?
Just expense.
Just expense,
Yeah,
okay,
It's
okay.
less money
Right.
in those countries.
I think we've all heard before. You did mention briefly. You said SpongeBoy Ahoy.
Yes.
All of us, at least I've heard that it has been called that previously, and then they changed it. Do you know why it was changed to
Yes.
SpongeBob?
Yes, we did. We wrote and animated the whole pilot, and he was called SpongeBoy. And then when Steve got off the plane from Korea, after he went over to Korea for a couple weeks to help animate it, he got off the plane and he was told that the name SpongeBoy didn't clear. Somebody owned it, so
Oh.
he needed to change. So he needed to change it. So he was.
Okay. Well,
he was very mad about that.
what?
But it
That's
turned
crazy.
out that was. I remember while we were developing it, he had already sold the show, And I remember he had the idea, came and he was telling me, he's like, what do you think of the name SpongeBob? And I'm like, I don't know. I think SpongeBob is the way to go.
And then
So,
here we are, like
yeah,
20 plus years
then
later.
Here we are 20 years later. Yeah.
I love that.
It's funny.
Okay, well, you
Meant to
did-
be.
Right, it was. You have something here for us. Maybe let us know what you got planned.
Yes, I was asked to maybe show you guys how we draw SpongeBob. So
I would love- Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Let's see the master at work.
Yeah. So see if I can use the microphone end. So this is the perfect shape for SpongeBob, right? It's the square.
You just need eyes
Yeah.
and a smile.
So I've never talked and drawn really, so you feel free to ask questions too if you guys have questions.
Yeah, if you guys ever have any questions,
yeah,
just let me know.
I'm happy to talk and draw about something I'm not drawing. Yeah. So I always start with his eyes, and then his nose kind of tells me which way he's looking. So this is going to be, and I always try to give him a little highlight in his eye, a little sparkle. And then I always usually then will do his eyelashes.
3 on each eye.
Yes. And one not so secret thing about me is I never could draw on model. So Steve was never happy with the way I drew on model. So that was not my job on SpongeBob. But I've kind of learned how to fake it.
I feel like a lot of it. So when you came up, were you the one to come up with what he looked like?
No. Steve Hillenberg it was really his idea for sure, and the drawing style is definitely his, and so my job really was kind of more story related, or writing related and character. So and really the way we would work together is, he would have an idea, especially when we're developing. He would have an idea. Like I remember he had, like when he first came up with Patrick. One of his early ideas was Patrick was an angry, kind of a bully character who was, kind of a tough, angry starfish, and he just had a big chip on his shoulder, and that lasted about a day, and then. The next day, I went over to work with Steve, and he's like, "Oh no, he's gonna just be his friend. He'll just be his dumb friend." So, So
I wonder how different it would have been if we had Bully Patrick.
Yeah, could you imagine?
What would we have had? Because then, maybe is that why Squidward was introduced? They did need a bully.
No, the thing with Squidward was besides SpongeBob, Squidward was the first character Steve came up with, and the real core of the show was the relationship between SpongeBob and Squidward. And that was kind of like a Ernie and Bert, that from the Sesame Street.
Yep.
It was very much based on an Ernie and Bert kind of relationship. Or if you guys have heard of Laurel and Hardy, do you know Laurel and Hardy?
Yep.
It's very much
Black and
based
white.
on those things where you have the kind of an innocent, sweet character, and then you have kind of a grouchy, straight man. And so Squidward was the first character, and when we started working together, we worked on a story that eventually became Pizza Delivery. If you guys know that episode, Pizza Delivery.
Yeah.
That was the one that we worked on at his house when we were developing it. Because the thought was, well, we'll just write an episode, and then we'll figure out all the character stuff, and then we'll sell that. Steve can sell that to Nickelodeon.
Right.
And, we did a little bit, quickly realized that wasn't the way to do it, because it was hard to write a show when you didn't know who the characters were.
Right.
So,
So it was SpongeBob, and then Squidward was created right after.
And then I'll draw Squidward.
Do we get handsome or regular? I'm just kidding.
Let's see. Squidward is good. Squidward's face is the most interesting thing about him.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I think he came up with was kind of where SpongeBob worked at the Krusty Krab.
Okay.
And so that was kind of the next big idea that he unlocked, was the idea that SpongeBob was a fry cook, and he had this boss who would take advantage of him.
Because he's so innocent.
Because he's so innocent, he just loves his job so much.
He would probably pay.
He would
Mr.
do it for
Krabs
free, yeah.
Yep.
But then it always would come back, like Mr. Krabs would always he would try to take advantage of SpongeBob, but he would be the one that would kind of at the end he would be the one that took the beating because as soon as you take advantage of an innocent kid,
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything different about because you were mainly on SpongeBob for was it 1 through 3? I think.
Yes,
Seasons
I was
1
on the
through
first three seasons. Yeah.
Was there anything different about having? Because when did SpongeBob 1 through 3? What kind of time frame was that year-wise?
We started in probably 96, 97, maybe 98,
Right.
in that neighborhood, and then we went. In the first movie we finished, I think, in 2003. So that run was when I was doing that.
So how does that differ from some of your like newer stuff that you had worked on, like the process? Like, is there anything that you miss about like the '90s that isn't present in maybe newer things?
I had been away from the show for so long that when I came back to it, it all kind of felt new again to me.
Okay.
So I tried to work on it and have the teams work on it kind of the same way we did way back, where really we just trying to make it funny and what made us laugh, and just try to do surprising things.
Okay.
I tried to capture, in my mind how we did it back then.
Right.
So.
Okay, well, awesome. Do you have any other characters for us? I don't want to make you draw the whole time, but if you like it, I'm not going to stop you.
Does anybody have any questions, or
Anybody
maybe we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
SpongeBob has several very specific character traits. Was he based on anyone in your personal life or Steven's personal life?
No, I would say he was kind of based on those characters. I was Ernie or even like Steve Martin or Pee Wee from Pee Wee's Playhouse. Those were big influences. Steve, we always kind of drew from our own childhood, and a lot of the stories that we came up with for the shows were based on things that happened to us as kids, and so not that it was anybody specific, but it was kind of like the ideal of what it is to be a kid is kind of who he's kind of based on.
I love that because he is so innocent. So like he's very kid-like.
That's the whole.
I love that.
That was always the question: is like, what's the kid-like element to this story? What's the kid-relatable thing? So that was what we always tried to ask ourselves.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions? Yeah. Here, the green beard, maybe.
I really enjoyed that. It's cliche, I guess. I really do have fond memories. But someone asked me earlier, and I think about the pilot, the Help On. That was one that Steve and I boarded together, and there's a lot of pressure on that one because we were trying to sell the whole show with that episode, and so we put a lot of energy, a lot of stress went into that episode, and we learned a lot doing it and creating the character. So I would say that's one that definitely is a highlight that sticks out in my head.
All right. We had another question. Sorry, she had.
Someone had asked me even today, and I have a friend of mine who said, "You ever get sick of drawing this character? You draw him all the time." But really, the challenge is and the fun is you try to come up with a new expression or a new way of interpreting what SpongeBob feels like or what he's feeling, and you put it into his face. And so it's 2 circles and a line and a nose, right? It's super simple, but the challenge is to try to come up with something new, something the audience hasn't seen before. I don't know if I have a favorite one. I mean, I always like when the characters cry. like Mr. Krabs. Making Mr. Krabs cry is always fun.
Do his eyes go like wiggly? I forget how
yeah.
it looks.
I mean, his eyes are normally stalks, but
Yeah.
then when he weeps, they can get droopy.
Yes,
and droopy.
that's right.
So, but that is the fun of it, is to try to come up with I think if for an audience, if the audience can look at the drawing and know what the character's feeling or thinking without any dialogue, then you've done your job.
Okay, I think we had a question in the front.
So in the 3rd season, you introduced the League of Acquaintances. What
Well, that's a good question. I don't work on the show anymore, so I'm surprised they haven't done any more episodes with those superheroes, right? Because they. Well, didn't SpongeBob, like, wasn't he the wizard or something, and the oh, in the movie.
Yeah.
We didn't do it in the movie. You're right. No, we just did that episode. Yeah, I mean, it seems like in the world that we live in with all the superhero craze, right?
They're
all
leaving
the
it on the
Marvel
table.
Movies, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I was going to go back to another piggyback off of a question you had just previously when it came to the new expressions you were talking about. When we get those close-ups on some of the characters where it's like a little bit too detailed for our liking, was that something you were able to get to do in the storyboards, or?
Those were really influenced by, or inspired, I guess, by the old Bob Clampett cartoons, the old like Donald Duck and Bugs
Yeah.
Bunny. He would, there was an old episode where it was a Dick Tracy parody called Duck Tracy, if anybody's a Looney Tune fan, and there was a bunch of paintings of all the criminals. That we just thought that was a funny idea, and the show was so painterly, the backgrounds, and so I think Ren and Stimpy had probably done it also before we did it.
Yep.
But so it was really just kind of a way to add extra detail, extra gruesome.
Yeah.
We did a couple of those on the movie, and those guys, the new team, they started labeling it gross ups instead of close ups because they were so gross. So yeah.
Accurately named, because sometimes I'm like, oh my god,
They're a little disturbing.
get
yeah.
it off the screen.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we were able to do a gross up of Patrick's flabby butt cheeks on the new movie, which I thought was
That's hilarious.
a good use of it.
All right. Do we have any more questions from anybody? We got maybe in the, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do mood boards, but he was very, very influenced by the early Popeye comic strips. This guy Seagar, so the line quality of those, the drawing style of those, that was definitely a big influence on him. The Fleischer animation studio, those kind of rubber hosey, old timey animations, that was also a big influence on him. He was a big fan of. He was very influenced by fine art in general. He was a painter, and if you ever saw his paintings, they're very kind of squiggly wiggly, and his early animations that he did for college were real squiggly drawings and stuff. In what way? Yeah, we watched. I remember early on he had me watch some specific Laurel and Hardy episodes, and a couple Jerry Lewis movies. Kind of like we went through and kind of cherry picked moments of Jerry Lewis to say, well, kind of like I think this is who the character is. I think, here's a moment, where I think it's really capturing what I want to do. He was influenced by. There was a movie called. Repo Man, if you guys remember that old movie, that there was a character in Repo Man that was like the clerk at the grocery store who was obsessed about putting on the prices. He's like, oh, that's who SpongeBob is. There was another movie called Powwow Highway, which was this road trip. It was these two Native Americans who were in a car traveling across the country, and it was very SpongeBob Squidward.
Okay.
So we watched that.
Just fights the whole time.
Just kind of bickering.
Bickering
And it was
back and
really
forth.
just about one character was very innocent, and the other character was kind of the Squidward character, the kind of grouchy realist, So it was,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Pessimist a little bit. Do we have another question? Blue shirt?
Well, the memes, I didn't know what a meme was until, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And one of the drawings that I had done for the show was a meme. And I didn't know even what a meme was. So it was the one where Squidward admits that he likes eating Krabby Patties, and SpongeBob has that funny face where he says, so that was a storyboard drawing I had done.
Krabby Patties.
Yeah, that's the one. So when I was at work at Illumination, and one of the ladies there, she was the one that she took great delight in telling me that was
I love that.
my drawing, and it was a meme and the whole
I
deal.
love that. That's awesome. That's an iconic one. A lot of people use that. You can't even get through social media
Without that, yes.
nowadays
I've learned
without
that.
seeing it.
I've learned that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not a meme user, so I appreciate that.
I think
it's
you
got a life.
are though, because that one's yours.
I guess I'm a meme maker, but not a meme
Meme
user.
maker. Yeah, you don't participate, but
Yes,
you can make
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We had a couple of the questions in the back. Maybe to the left. You, yeah, blue and white shirt. Oh, sorry, you had something on you. I thought your shirt was white.
Well, that's a hard answer to. That's a tough one to answer because they're all my children. You hear that
You love
story
them.
all the time, right? It's hard to each were very challenging, and I can kind of tell you maybe the ones that were. There was the one where Sandy, where SpongeBob was trying to plan a surprise party for Sandy. Do you remember that, where she's going away party, and the only way to get her to not know is he gets her mad at him, if you
Yeah.
remember, and then and she loses her temper, and then she's about to kill him, and he's running for his life to get there. So that was based on I was trying to when my wife turned, I think she was 18. I was trying to plan a surprise party for her, and we were pulling up to the restaurant, and all her friends' cars were in the driveway, in the parking lot, and I knew she would recognize them. So I started a fight with her in the car, and she got very mad at me, and we walk into the restaurant, and she was really angry, and then, of course, surprise. So it was kind of based on a real.
I love that.
It was kind of based on a real
That's
event.
cute.
So.
That's cute. All right. We had one right here, and then we'll get you right over here.
We're above his pupils, right? What's that? Yeah, I would put both of his eyes into the hat and just above the pupils.
I love that. All right, and we had one more question from Gary over here.
Well, Steve and I he was a very good friend of mine, a really close friend of mine, and the nice thing about the show was a lot of the people that we worked together were close friends. We all knew each other in Morocco. And so we all got married around the same time. We had kids around the same time. We all had young families while we were making the show, and we spent holidays together. And there was plenty of nights where Steve and I worked all day together, and we're kind of sick of each other from because you're working. And then he would get a call from his wife, and he'd hang up. He'd say, "Well, it looks like you're having dinner at my house tonight," and so we would go to his house. So so it was great. We were very close friends. And so it was, and he was a really amazing artist, very, very funny guy, as you can imagine, fun to be around. So it was a real treat, real pleasure.
I love that. And I had another question. As far as another drawing, is Gary something you would like to do?
Oh, sure.
as
Yeah, I
well?
can do.
I don't want to make you.
I could do a Gary, going out Gary drawing. How's that?
Yeah, I love that because I was seeing Gary on his shirt earlier. I was like, oh, get a little meow. I love that.
Yeah, today when I sat down, somebody asked me to draw Gary as the librarian. You remember that episode where he's the librarian? So
Yes.
I'd drawn that. I hadn't seen that thing in 20 years. So that was
love
a
that.
little tricky. Okay, so let's see. So I always tend to start with characters' eyes, if you haven't noticed.
I feel like it's a good starting point.
And Gary is wall-eyed because he's. Don't know if Gary's on another plane of existence. Not always. Is he out of it or is he a bigger thinker? I don't know. All right, let's see. And then we have his shell.
They really just come to life, honestly. It's great. Do you have someone you prefer to draw over everybody else?
I like drawing. Oh, you mean for these characters?
Yeah.
Well, SpongeBob is someone I draw all the time, and I do like drawing him.
Is there anybody else you were thinking besides SpongeBob?
I like drawing Batman.
Batman? Okay.
They all. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, they all pose different challenges. You know,
Right.
or not. So it's. So I mean, Gary can be a little tricky, kind of in this area. So to make sure that works. So it's. You know. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else notices, but me. But Gary's very simple.
There
so.
we go. We love Gary. All right.
Well, thanks everybody. I
Yeah.
appreciate you all coming.
Yeah, thank you guys. And thank you for coming out and
course,
talking
yeah.
to us, drawn for us. It looks amazing. I think that, are you going to be at your booth today or what's?
Yes, I'll be back at
Okay.
my booth and today and
Cool.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
I've
So if
seen
you
a lot
guys-
of you there already, so thank you.
Yeah, if
very
you guys
much
have
for
any more
coming.
questions for him, he'll be there. Thank
Yeah,
you guys all for
come
coming
and talk
out.
to me so I'm not lonely. Thank you. That'd be
Yes.
nice.
Okay. This microphone is very loud. All right. But thank you so much.
course.
It was so
Thank you
fun.
for-
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Keep me on track.